Good morning, friends. Today we start the lecture number 3 of probability. So you have seen the lecture 1 and 2. The lecture 1 and 2 were based on the things you studied in the ninth standard, which is called empirical probability. We are going to see a brief of empirical probability again and go to the chapter on the 10th standard, that is theoretical probability. Now the first two lectures were given to you for a proper revision of what you have done. So we have started from the base level and today we'll see the need for theoretical probability. So first of all, what is empirical and theoretical probability? What you did in the first two lectures was empirical probability. So, the experimental or empirical probability of an event is based on what has actually happened. Means, if you take a coin and toss it, then how many times you got head is something which has actually happened. So, experimental or empirical probability, you have to understand, is based on what has actually happened. Means the experiment is done and based on that experiment, what has happened, based on the experiment, the future probability can be decided. For example, today in the time of corona, yes, coronavirus, the COVID pandemic, we have to keep the data of how many people are dying due to corona. Okay, we have the data. I'm not trying to scare you here, but just for the sake of the data. Now, the people who died, were they above 55 years of age? Were they above 80 years of age? So the death record is an experimental probability. We should not experiment with people, but the thing has happened, unfortunately, so we have collected the data. Now, when a new case is gone to the hospital, okay, and if there is not enough beds in the hospital, then there is a probabilitical decision to be taken here, which patients to admit, which patients has a larger chance of survival. So this is not a very good example, I know, but something we have to look upon, that we have to be have a good view towards the society, and the decision should be based on the good of the society as a whole. So experimental or empirical probability is based on what has actually happened, while theoretical probability predict what will happen on the basis of certain assumptions. So here we are going to assume. Assume means what? We are not sure completely, but we have to assume that things will be fair. Okay? So let us assume, okay, let me tell you. Suppose you take a coin. When you toss a coin, it is equally likely it will be a head or it will be a tail. Okay, so if you do not put the coin in the sand, if the coin does not fall on the sand, it falls on the hard floor, then basically you will either have a head or a tail. So the chances are 50-50. Now you toss the coin 100 times. Do you think you will get head 50 times and tails 50 times? No. When you toss the coin actually, that is experimental probability, when you actually toss the coin, you will have to count how many times you got head and how many times you got tail. So suppose you have got one coin with you and you toss it and you get head 700 times. Okay, suppose you have got a coin with you and you toss the coin say 1000 times, sorry, you toss the coin 1000 times and you get head 700 times and tail 300 times. Now when you are using the same coin for a bet with a friend, what will you choose, head or tail? Now you will see that in this coin, head came 700 times, tail came 300 times, so there is a larger chance of it being a head. So you will choose head. Because 700 times head has come, so head has got a larger probability. But if it is a totally new coin, then you cannot be sure because you did the experiment with another coin and now we are taking a new coin, so you have to assume that the coin will have 50-50 chances. Means if this new coin is thrown 1000 times, we should have 500 heads and 500 tails. So in the previous coin, the experiment was actually done. So what was your probability? What was our experiment? We tossed the coins 1000 times, 700 times it was head, 300 times it was a tail. So probability of head is 700 upon 1000, that is 7 upon 10, and probability of a tail is 300 upon 1000, that is 3 upon 10, with the old coin in which we did the experiment. But when we take a new coin and we decide that this new coin we are going to toss 1000 times, you have not tossed it, you are going to toss it. So if somebody asked you how many times will there be head and how many times there will be tail, you will assume that there will be heads 500 times and tail 500 times. So this is the difference between experimental and theoretical probability. There you toss the coin 1000 times and whatever you got you note it down. So your probability is based on the experiment. Here a new coin is given to you and you are told you have to toss this coin 1000 times. Tell in advance what will be the probability of head and tail. So you will say 500 head and 500 tail is what you will assume. Now look at this example. The 18th century French naturalist Comte de Buffon tossed the coin 4040 times and got 2048 heads. So he did this experiment. Okay. So here the case of getting a head was how much? Heads upon total events. So it is 0.507. Now 0.5 means 1 upon 2. So it is almost near. Now the next experimental from Britain, he recorded 5067. Sorry, he did 10,000 tosses. How many? 10,000. He got 5067 heads. So here the probability has become 0.5067, which is lesser than 507, nearer to 5. So this one only tossed 4040 times. This fellow tossed 10,000 times. Now another statistician, Carl Pearson, he made 24,000 tosses of a coin. In the 24,000 tosses, he got 12,012 heads. So he got 0.5005, which is more nearer to 0.5 than the other two. So what you can see, our theoretical value means when you assume a coin, when you toss a coin you assume there is half chances. One chance of being a head means see, we will come to that later on, but when you toss a coin there are only two possible outcomes, either head or tail. The chances of head occurring is 1. So the total probability is 1 upon 2, tail is 1 upon 2, 1 upon 2 means 0.5. But when we actually toss the coin, the probability was 0.507 because it was done 4040 times. When the experiment increased to 10,000 times, it became 0.5067. And when the experiment increased to 24,000 times, the probability became 0.5005. Now the question is, when we can do things with experiment, why should we assume? Why theoretical probability? When actually you can always do the experiment, repeat the experiment. So here lies the answer. Why should we go for a theoretical approach? Okay. So experiment can be repeated a large number of times. If you want to have the exact probability, you should repeat the experiment a large number of times. But sometimes the experiments are very expensive and unfeasible. They are expensive and unfeasible. Which experiments are we talking about here? Okay, tossing a coin, throwing a die, pulling a card out of a deck of cards. That is not expensive or unfeasible. But suppose we have to launch a satellite into space. Okay, you have to launch a satellite into space and find out the probability of its failure. Now we cannot launch 10,000 satellites and find out how many were success, how many were failure. We cannot do that. We have to take the help of science here. There are scientific laws. So when you follow the scientific laws, then it should actually launch the satellite at the first trial, but there are many other conditions which we are not sure of at the beginning. So here, when we are launching a satellite, we cannot do the experiment 1,000 number of times. So there we have to look at the theoretical probability. So things are given probability. We have taken utmost care. We have tried the best technology, but there can be a chance of a failure, a very small chance, but a chance of failure is there. So when people want to know what is the chance that the satellite will be successfully launched, then the scientists will say 0.95 means 95% chance or 99% chance. Still is got a doubt that 1% there might be some failure. Secondly, earthquake. What is the probability that that the building will break during an earthquake? Here you cannot let earthquakes keep on occurring and buildings to break. So you make buildings, okay, whatever data you collected, which buildings broke down during an earthquake, what material was used, how it was built. Looking into the science, you now build new types of buildings, but you assume that how much the building is guaranteed. No builder will give a 100% guarantee of the building, but you can say that 70% chance this building can survive an earthquake. So somewhere you have to try with probability, okay, and so why we take the assumptions is to avoid the repetition of an experiment. When you want to avoid the repetition of an experiment, we will go to certain assumptions. So the example I gave you in the beginning about corona, okay, we do not want to try. So what is this now? Okay, so let us see. We are trying the vaccine. Now we are trying to find the vaccine of corona. Russia said it did. Even our Indian Baba said he found the cure, but you cannot say directly. You have to test people. So here the experiment is actually done. You have to see the side effects of the experiment. Yes? So there are human volunteers on which the medicine is actually tried, the side effects are tested. This virus vaccine will go through 3 trials, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and then it will be launched into the market. So here the experiment is actually going on and maybe the vaccine is successful. But still, when it will be launched into the market will say there is a 90% chance of survival. Means this medicine is very effective. There is a 90% chance that the patient will survive, but there is also a 10% chance that the patient may not survive. So even after experimental probability, we have to go by certain assumptions. So, a little bit of revision from the previous lecture. What is an experiment? An operation which gives well-defined outcomes is an experiment. So, tossing the coin is an experiment. The outcomes are head and tail. Rolling a die is an experiment. The outcomes are the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, these are the experiment is the operation and these are the outcomes. Then you notice a random experiment. An experiment when repeated under identical conditions do not produce the same outcome every time. Means you roll the die, sometimes you get 1, sometimes you get 5, sometimes you get 3. So it is random, you do not know which is going to occur. But deterministic is which when repeated under identical conditions give the same outcome every time. For example, if you boil the water at atmospheric pressure, then it will start to evaporate at 100 degrees Celsius. So in the same conditions, when you repeat the experiment, it will give the same outcome. A random experiment or probabilistic does not give the same outcome. The outcome is random. Then we have event. So possible outcome is called an event. So tossing a coin is your experiment. Head and tail are the possible outcomes. Occurrence of a head is an event or occurrence of a tail is an event. So occurrence of the event is when the event has occurred or the outcome favors E. So when the event has occurred in experimental probability, the event will occur. In a theoretical, the outcome will favor E. The outcome will be favored by what we have decided. Now elementary event, having only one outcome. So for when you toss a coin, head is elementary, tail is elementary. In the roll of die, getting 1 is elementary, getting 2 is elementary, getting 3 is elementary, getting 4 is elementary, 5 and 6. All these separate 6 events are elementary events. Why? Because there is only one outcome. Okay, now we move on to the theoretical approach. Okay, now we are going to our assumptions. But before we go to theoretical approach, we have to see a word here, the word which means fair. We have to assume, when we speak of the coin, we have to assume the coin is a fair coin, means properly made. Okay, it is symmetrical, it is a fair coin. There is no reason for it to come down on one side than the other. We are assuming that the coin is fair, means when you will toss the coin, there is an equal chance of a head and an equal chance of a tail. When you do the experiment 1000 times, it may not be true, but where we have to assume that the coin we are using is a fair coin, no one is cheating over here, the coin will be having exact probability of coming a head or coming a tail, we will say the coin is unbiased. Okay, now people do not gamble through coins, so the coins are mostly unbiased. So we go for a random toss. Random toss means equally likely a head or a tail. So here it is written here as likely as the other, means equally likely. When you toss a coin, the probability of a head or a tail is equally likely. Same way when you throw a die. Now Ludo, we have heard, is banned. The Chinese app Ludo is banned, in which you threw a die, computerized. It was not an actual die, it was a computer throw. So the chance of getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 was equally likely. But if you assume a fair die, okay, if you are playing Ludo sitting at home, by throwing a die, the dice, if you assume it is a fair dice, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are all equally likely. You can get any number anytime. They are all equally likely. But some people cheat, as we saw in Mahabharata. Shakuni was very good at gambling. Now either he had the talent for gambling or he must have rigged the die in such a way that it would give special outcomes. But here we assume a fair die. Fair die means it will give an equally likely. So when you throw the die, you will not get the same number most of the times. But a fair die, what do you mean a fair die? It is made in the factory in such a way that it is symmetrical on all sides. There is not much weight on one side or on the other side. Sometimes people who cheat put a small iron ball bearing on one side to get a number. Okay, so this is a theoretical approach. So here we have to assume that the coin we are using is a fair coin. It will give head and tail equally. We assume the die we are using is a fair die. A fair die means the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are equally likely. So if you sit with a deck of cards, when you're pulling a card from a deck of cards, then every card is equally likely. Okay, we'll come to the deck of cards later in the lecture, but every card is equally likely. So now what are the points related to probability we did before? What is the impossible event? 0% will give you impossible, means when you throw a die, what is the chance that you will get the number 8? So it is impossible. A die only has numbers 1 to 6. You can never get 8. So that is an impossible event whose probability is 0. Okay. When you throw the die, what is the chance the number will be less than 7? Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is always less than 7. So 100% the number will be less than 7. So that is 100%, which is given as 1. But otherwise, the probability of any event will lie between impossible and sure, means between 0% and 100%. So we got PE is greater or equal to 0 but less than or equal to 1. So if it is a sure event, the probability is 1. Okay, here it is a mistake, the probability should be 0, then it is an event is an impossible event. Now, the sum of all possible events, the outcome is always 1. We have got PE plus not P equal to 1 or P equal to 1 PE. Now what is this E bar? The bar stands for not E. Okay, so let me tell you an example. Suppose we roll a die. Okay, the number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let me say the outcome is the number is neither prime nor composite. Okay? The number is neither prime nor composite. Now in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 is the only number which is neither prime nor composite. So 1 can occur only in one way, so the total answer is 1 upon 6. Okay? So the event is what? What I said, it is neither a prime number nor a composite number. So the answer is 1 upon 6. But where is the naught is what? 1 upon 6. So P of naught is 1 upon 6. So what is the chance that the number is either prime or composite? So if you do 1 minus 1 upon 6, then you will get 5 upon 6. So 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 are all either prime or composite. So what is this? The event occurring plus event not occurring will always give the result 1. Can you think of any other example? Okay. Suppose we roll the die again. Okay. And we say that the outcome is even. Now which are the even numbers? 2, 4, 6. So the probability is 3 upon 6, that is 1 upon 2. And odd is 1, 3, 5. These are also 3 outcomes. So 3 upon 6 equal to 1 upon 2. So when the number is even, it is not odd. When the number is odd, it is not even. So you can do 1 minus odd to find even, or 1 minus even to find odd. Now comes the formula on which the sums will be based, and then we move on to the sums. In the empirical probability which you did in the previous 2 lectures, the probability of the event was number of trials in which event occurred upon total number of trials. Means suppose you toss the coins 10,000 times and 5,067 times it was a head. So it occurred, head occurred 5,067 times. Total number of trials were 10,000. So 5067 upon 10,000 is 0.5067. But in theoretical probability, we find the outcomes favorable to it. Means, suppose I will roll a die. What is the probability? It will be a prime number. Now the total outcomes here, when you roll a die, what are the total possible outcomes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Out of this, which are the prime numbers? 2, 3 and 5. So there are three outcomes favorable. So we'll say 3 outcomes are favorable. 2, 3 and 5 are the prime numbers and total outcomes were 6. So the probability is 3 upon 6 or 1 upon 2. So now with the example, find the probability of getting a head when a coin is tossed once. Now when they say coin, we mean a fair coin. So find the probability of getting a head when a coin is tossed once, a fair coin. And also find the probability of getting a tail. Now see, when you toss a coin, the total possible outcomes are 2. So what we have, the total possible outcomes 2, either a head or a tail. So the total outcomes are only 2, either head or tail. Now E is the event of getting a head. So out of these 2 possible outcomes, head is only 1. So head is 1. So P of E, that is P of getting a head, is outcome favorable to E, that is 1 upon 2. The tail is also 1 upon 2. Now note here, when you add this, so this is head means not tail. This is tail means not head. And these both are elementary events. Why? There is only one outcome possible. So P plus PF equal to 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2 equal to 1. Now here, a bag contains a red ball, blue ball, yellow ball. There are 3 balls here. Red ball, blue ball and yellow ball, same size. Okay? So it is put in a bag. You don't know which ball is which color. They are of the same size, but one red, one blue, one yellow. Now you have to take out the ball from the bag without looking at it. What is the probability it will be yellow? What is the probability it will be red? What is the probability it will be blue? Now when you take out ball from the bag, how many possible outcomes are there? There are 3 balls in the bag, so you can pull out the yellow or the red or the blue. So total possible outcomes are 3 because there are 3 balls in the bag. and because the number of balls are the same, it is equally likely. Now here you understand, if I had put 3 red balls, 4 yellow balls and 6 blue balls, then the condition would have changed. It is not equally likely. Why? The number has changed here. If I put 3 yellow, 5 red and 6 blue balls, the number is not equal. So then it is not equally likely. Equally likely means they have to be the same. So I put only 1 yellow ball, 1 red ball and 1 blue ball. So there are 3 balls and it is equally likely you can pull out any ball. So total outcomes is 3. Now if Y is the event that the ball is yellow, okay, now you can pull out the yellow ball only in one way, that is the yellow ball. So the number of favorable outcomes for yellow is only 1, so the probability becomes 1 upon total 1 upon 3. In how many you can pull out the red ball out of this total 3 outcomes? Only in one way, pull the red ball. So red ball is also 1 upon 3. Similarly the blue ball is also 1 upon 3. Now if you add them all, the Py, the Pr plus Pb, again it will give you 1. So the sum of all the equally likely outcomes is equal to 1. So remember here, the number of balls is equal, the size is the same. When the number of balls will change, then the equally likely, it is not equally likely, so the probability will also change. Now again, next one. Suppose we throw a die once. What is the probability of getting a number greater than 4? See, now it is greater than 4. What is the probability of getting a number less than or equal to 4? Now when you throw a die, you know the total outcomes are 6. So 6 is the total outcomes. Now which are the numbers greater than 4? Then you got 5 and 6 are greater than 4. So only 2 outcomes are favorable here, 5 and 6. So the total outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all equally likely, but a number greater than 4 can be 5 or 6, so there are 2 favorable outcomes. So the probability, the first one, getting number greater than 4 is 2 possibilities, 5 and 6, total outcome 6, so it is 2 upon 6 or 1 upon 3. And getting a number less than or equal to 4, so there are 4 outcomes possible, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So the favorable to less than or equal to 4 is 4 upon 6 or 2 upon 3. Now if you add 1 upon 3 and 2 upon 3, you will get 1 again. Okay, you will get 1 upon 3 plus 2 upon 3 is 3 upon 3 equal to 1. But here these are not elementary events. Why? Because there are 2 outcomes here and there are 4 outcomes here. So these are not elementary events. Elementary event means there should be only 1 outcome. So this is about dice and coins. Now since PUBG is banned, Ludo is banned, so we might go back to playing what we usually keep on playing, that is with the deck of cards. Yes? So this is a picture here I have given of the deck of cards. You will count, there are 52 cards. You can see there are 13 in the first row, 13 in the second row, 13 in the third and 13th in the fourth row. Okay? So this total are 13 fours are 52. 1, 2, 1, these 4 are the called the aces. So you can see what you can see. Okay, let us understand. There are totally 52 cards, out of which 26 are black and 26 are red. Can you see that? Okay. So if I ask the question, if I draw one card from a deck of cards, what is the probability it will be a black card? Now how many black cards you count? There are 26. So total cards are 52. So when I pull one card out of 52, now all these cards are equally likely. I do not know which card will come, but there is an equal chance for all cards to come. So all these events are equally likely. Okay. So total outcomes can be are 52. Now what is the event? It is a black card. Now there is the top 26 cards which are favorable to black. Favorable to black. So the probability of getting a black card is 26 upon 52 or 1 upon 2. Now, what is the probability of not getting a black card? So black card was 1 upon 2. So not getting a black card is 1 minus 1 upon 2. That is also 1 upon 2, because not getting a black card means getting a red card. And red cards are also 26. So it is true. Okay. What is the probability of getting an ace? Now, how many aces are here? There are 4 aces. I showed you. These are the aces. 4 aces are there. So what is the chance of getting an ace? 4 upon 52 or 1 upon 30. Right? That is the chance of getting an ace. What is the chance of getting a red ace? Now count how many red aces are there. There are only 2 red aces. So the chance of getting a red ace is 2 upon 52 or 1 upon 26. What is the chance of getting an ace of hearts? Now what is hearts you see here? So we have to now understand the ace of heart. So this is spade, this one is the spade, this one is the heart, this one is the diamond. Look at the shape. So you will remember heart and you will remember the diamond. This is the spade and this is the club. Now you have to remember this. So I put the picture here. So what is the chance of getting an ace of hearts? So because it is a heart and there is only one ace of hearts, so there is only one card here. So the answer is 1 upon 52. Now, what is the chance of getting a face card? So what is a face card? A face card is a card which has got a face on it. So you can see the jack, queen and king here are face cards. So there are 12, totally 12 face cards. Face card means those having a face on it. So if I pull out a card, what is the chance of it being a face card? So again the cards are 52, I am pulling out one, but there are 12 faces here. So the chances are 12 upon 52 or 3 upon 30. What is the chance of having a red face card? So count the red face card. The red face cards are 6. So the answer is 6 upon 52 or 3 upon 26. What is the chance of having a red queen? So red queen is only 2. So it's to a red queen. So it is 2 upon 56. What is the chance of having the king of clubs? So king of club is only 1. So the chance is 1 upon 26. So these are the different type of questions that we will practice later on. But just now I want you to see the picture and understand the cards. Because mostly in the exams the question related to the cards are asked. So kindly look at the picture and understand what are aces, what are face cards, what is the spades, what are hearts, what are diamonds, what are clubs. So you have to remember this deck. The questions are based on this. I hope you like this lecture. So I'm going to end here. Okay. And now only the sums remain, which we'll discuss in the next lecture. So I'm going to end here. Thank you.